Good evening, everybody. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. It's very nice to see so many of you coming back again. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Here we are on, I think, our fifth webinar. Very, very delighted the fact that you've all taken this time to tune in, and I hope that what we can take out of the next 3/4 of an hour is going to help you in your practices as we have put this into our practices and it's helping ourselves. We're just going to wait for one or two of the late arrivers, but while we do, I'm just going to recap on a little bit of what we touched upon in the last webinar. So don't worry if you didn't see part one. I've had a number of people contact me today to say that they didn't see part one. That's absolutely fine. It's no problem because we will be sending you out links to the full webinar. It's all going to be condensed into one webinar. So don't worry that you may not have seen part one. There are elements in part two that obviously make more sense if you've seen part one, but I think there's enough for you to take away. And we'll send all the links out in the end. As ever, my partner, Kieran Canny, is also online. Kieran will be answering all of the questions that come up. Today, I will be presenting this part of the target marketing. But if you have any questions, put them into the live feed chat, and I'm sure Kieran will do his best to answer them. If we can't answer them in real time, we will answer them individually at the end of the webinar. Hi, Kieran. It's good to see you here. So we're going to have a little bit of a recap on last week. We looked at target marketing. So I'm just going to flip over to one slide here, and it's, are you targeting the right patients? Are we targeting the right patients? And one of the things that we looked at last week is we try to please everybody, and this is a typical advertisement that I'm guilty of putting out or have put out in the past, and I think many podiatrists, foot health practitioners, people in any of the healthcare community are similar in doing the same. We want to show everybody the full extent of our services, so we put out what really looks like a menu of services that we provide, because we want to show the depth of what we were able to provide to our patients, but also, we want to capture everybody at the same time. We only really want to market once, and we want to capture everybody at the same time. And this is to our detriment. This is something that I've learned myself that's to our detriment. You cannot, and it's not successful, to put an advert out of this type and capture all. It just doesn't work. It may have worked years ago, but it certainly doesn't work now. What you need to do is to be able to target yourself to the right market. Now, for those that watched part one, we talked about advertise. We talked about looking at characters that represented the types of patients that we like to see, the types of patients that we want to come into our clinics, the types of patients that we like to treat, whether we like to treat them because we're comfortable treating them, or whether we like to treat them because these are the types of patients that earn us more money. Whatever the preference is of treating these patients, these are the types of people that we want to target. So we looked at advertise, and there's many types of advertise and many patient characteristics that we want to target and to come into our clinics. So Kieran and I, we played a game of Guess Who. And Kieran, the type of clinic that he runs, Kieran runs a very sort of high-end bespoke type clinic. He does a lot of biomechanics, and we looked at the MSK man, which is the typical type of patient that Kieran would see in his practice. My practice, on the other hand, we looked at the routine lady, which is more of a type of patient that comes into my clinic. Not a complex patient to treat, but somebody that we see regularly. And we identified these types of people, and we looked into their demographics and their psychographics, and we looked into their behaviors and their likes and their dislikes. And essentially, we became that patient. We transformed ourselves into that patient. And that was very, very important, to be able to transfer ourselves into that patient, because you have to become the patient to know how to market to them. Because unless you understand fully who you're marketing to, your marketing will fail, absolutely guaranteed. There's no point in trying to be something to everybody. You have to be something to that one particular person. And I wanted to be that something to this particular type of patient that comes in to my clinic on a regular basis. So I wanted to take on board the routine lady, because many of us in our clinic see the routine lady, and look at how we can market to this patient. So we moved on in part one, and we looked at, as I said, the demographics, the psychographics, the media use, the likes and the dislike. And what we came up with in part one is the routine lady that I want to attract into my clinic, and I'm sure that many of you will attract into your clinic, obviously a female, a lady, 70 years old, recently widowed, sadly, a retired teacher, so educated. She has a private pension, an income and no mortgage, 2 grown-up children. That's her demographics. We looked into her psychographics, and we looked at the fact that she likes to look after her grandchildren. She enjoys keeping fit. She likes to garden. She's an active member of WI, Women's Institute. She likes to look smart, so she enjoys clothes smart shopping. She has an interest in books. She's a regular library user. She reads the Mail on Sunday, but we won't judge her on that. She enjoys the WI speakers. She likes to listen to local radio. Local radio keeps her in touch with what's going on. And she's a new user to Facebook. Since her husband has died, her children has got her actively involved in Facebook, so she can keep up with what's going on with the family. So this was this was looking at the target market that I wanted to treat. So this was me wanting to become my routine lady. And now the next step, and what we've come here today, is to find out, how do we market to the routine lady? How do I become this rugby player looking chap, my routine lady? So how do I become this person? How do I know how to market to her? So understanding the demographics, the psychographics, the media use, the likes and the dislikes, it allows me to put my efforts into marketing to her. So where's the first place that we will find the routine lady? Well, for those of you that have got an established clinic, you obviously have the routine ladies coming into your clinic. You've obviously identified the routine ladies coming into your clinic as the type of patients that you like to treat, as I have. So you have them coming in already. So when you get the type of patient that comes into your clinic that you like to treat, it makes sense that she would be friendly with the same type of person that you like to treat. So the first place that you need to go is you need to go to the same type of patient that walks into your clinic and ask them to market to her friends. Because if she's marketing her to her friends, then you're encouraging the same type of person to come back into your clinic. So one of the first things you can do, it's free, or a lot of the things that I'm going to put out to you today will be free marketing, is to say to those patients that have been coming to you who fit that demographic, and you're trying to increase the patients coming in with the same demographic and the same characteristics, the same avatar, would you please put a review on Google? Would you please put a review on Facebook if they're a Facebook user? Would you please put a review on Yale.com? And the thing is about these 3 services, Yale.com, Google, and Facebook, is that they're free. These are free services. You can list your businesses. I'm sure many of you already have listed your businesses on there, but they're free. It's free marketing. The clincher is, the really, really smart bit is that if you're providing a quality service time and time again, This free marketing can be so powerful for you, because if you're getting genuine reviews on these 3 areas, these Google, Yale.com and Facebook, from genuine patients, 4 or 5 stars because of the service that you're providing, this is so powerful. And if somebody is prepared to come into your clinic, listen to you asking for reviews, and going home and doing that, they are going to spread the word for you. So this is the first of I've got 11 tips for you to be able to grow your clinic free or no cost or little cost. And this is the first one. Look towards your database already. And if you don't have a database, you have family, you have friends, I'm sure they match that database. Get them to either use your services or review your services so that you get some traction going online. This is a very, very powerful and a free tool. The second thing I want you to look at, and some of you might think this is a little bit cheeky, and it possibly is, but it works. It's both beneficial for you and the person that you're offering the services to. If you're working in a locality of other businesses, so you may work in a locality of businesses that you may have a coffee shop, you may have a clothes shop, you may have some forms of bakery, you may have some sort of service around you, that your patients or the type of patients that you want to see, the demographics that you want to see, they use that. It may be an artisan bakery that they choose to frequent, an independent coffee shop, an independent clothes shop, an independent shoe shop. It could be any of these things. Anything in your locality that you identify your target patient with going into. So I've chosen here a coffee shop. Go into these areas, explain who you are and what you do, and the fact that you'd like to share promotions between you. Say to them, do you have any promotions running at the moment? Do you have any promotions? So I picked on a coffee shop that's offering a 2-for-1 coffee between certain hours of the day. Say to them, would you mind me taking your leaflets away? And I will put them in front of my patients that may be interested in your service. Now, this could work for any area. This could work for the bakery, for the shoe shop, for the promotion, for the clothes shop, whichever, for the florist, any of these areas. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be foot or healthcare related, but you just take their promotions and you leave your details in return. So you need to leave your details and take theirs. When you're treating your patients that fit this criteria. So this isn't for all patients, and this is one of the things that you really got to put in your mind. You don't just give out these promotions to every patient. You have to explain to the person in your locality that you're marketing to, that you're marketing to the same type of patient, the same type of patient who's going to bring their friend there, and the same type of patient, if they bring their friend there, they're likely to bring their friends there. So it's a symbiotic relationship between you, them, and increasing both your footfall in your businesses. So this is something that's really, really important. But here's the cheeky bit. You take their promotion, collect the promotions in your locality, you give it to your patients and say, hey, I've heard X, Y, and Z coffee shop is doing a 2-for-1 offer. It would be lovely if you took one of your friends there, and staple your business card to it. You staple your business card to it because you want them to recognize that it's you, but you also want the coffee shop to recognize that you're the person that sent them there, because that builds a bigger and stronger relationship between you. And it's something that you can touch on and work on in the future. It's the relationship between you and your local business partners. It works best for independents rather than big multiple groups. Works very, very well, but it costs nothing, only the cost of a stapler. And that is why it's so important. So don't be afraid to go around your locality, especially target independent stores, independent areas, ask them for promotions. What do they want to promote? What do you want to do in return? And send each other the same type of customers. And that's the important bit. You're not sending each other any customer, you're sending each other the same type of customers. So this is my tip number 2, is to build up a relationship with the local businesses that you work to in your area. Moving on. So bear with me, I'm just going to have a quick look at what's going on. I can see Kieran's answering a lot of chat in the background. So thank you very much, Kieran, for answering all the chat. I can't keep up, but moving on. So I would imagine for all of you private practitioners out there that you have a Google business listing. If you don't, go and get one. It's free. But I would imagine that you already do, because you're already ahead of the pack. So the Google business listing is very, very important. And I'll tell you why it's very, very important. Forget you're in foot health. Forget everything about foot health, and that you or a member of your family had a problem with their feet. Where was the first place you would go to try and find somebody to look at it? The answer is Google. You're not going to go to Facebook, any other social media platform, or anywhere else first. You might go second, third, but you're not going to go there first. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to Google, and you're going to tap in either the problem that exists, athlete's foot, or you recognize that it's athlete's foot because they've had it before, and you're looking for a podiatrist or a foot health specialist in Basingstoke, for instance, wherever you live. You're going to go to Google. Some might go to Bing. You've got to be on Bing. You've got to be on all the search engines, but we'll focus on Google because Google is the master search engine. If you're not already listed on Google Business, you have to get listed on Google Business, and I'm sure many of you are, so I'm not going to talk to you too heavily about that at the minute. But what I can't, bear with me a second, what I can't bear when I see it, and I've been, the reason why I'm here speaking to you about this is that I've been the worst at this, is that when you go on there, you see this Google listing, and there's nothing else on there. You look at people, they spend so much time on Facebook. I mean, all of you and myself, we are communicating on Facebook. A lot of the platform of We Treat Feet comes from Facebook. We're huge Facebookers. We love Facebook. That's why we're all connected. That's why we all enjoy one another's company. But we ignore other channels. And Google is one of the biggest channel. And I know Google wants you to pay for advertising, but you don't have to. What you need to do is to start creating content on Google. And I bet so many of you don't create content on Google. And all you have to do is you have to go to the second thing along, which says create post, and put what you're normally putting onto Facebook, put it onto Google. If you're putting it onto Google, you're going to find your customers quicker. So you need to start putting onto this platform ahead of Facebook. That's why I put Google ahead of Facebook. It's so important. So we're going to go back slightly to our avatar. We're going to go back to the routine lady, because this is the focal point of who we're trying to find. We will look at different avatars on the We Treat Feet platform in the future. We're going to build a platform for you to be able to target every single type of patient, but we need to be able to focus on one at the moment. So I've got my thinking cap on. I run a business called We Treat Feet, and I want to increase my ladies that come into me of a certain type. So I'm going to go back to the avatar. So I know her age, and I know where she is, and I'm looking at what she does. I know she likes to look cute, and I notice that she enjoys gardening. Okay, I know that she enjoys gardening. So one of the things that I'm going to put onto my Google post is 5 tips to keep gardeners' feet healthy this summer. It's a very quick post that takes me 10-15 minutes to write. It's there in a prominent location on Google. It's likely to attract this type of audience. It's different. It's not, hey, 5 tips for keeping your feet healthy this summer, which we've seen a million times. It's 5 tips, to keep gardeners' feet So it's very specific. It's very targeted. It's very targeted. And then people might sort of think, well, this is different. So I might look at a read of that. And I'm going to put that right smack bang on there on our Google listing. And it's going to sit there prominently. And when people search for podiatrist in Cardiff, that's going to ping up. They're going to see that. They're going to see that image and they're going to see, oh, I'm going to have a little look at that. And that takes me ahead of the competition because this is different. So many of your listings look like that. You want them to have this kind of shiny image at the right-hand side of it. And this image needs to be changing regularly. You need to be thinking about who you're targeting and you need to be changing this regularly. So this is very, very, very specific. This is a million miles away from this, okay? This is how you're going to find your patients to keep it very, very specific. And it's easy and it's fun to write. So I encourage you to do it. So my second tip is to go to Google Posts and post something specific to the target market that you're looking at. And you find the target market by going back into the avatar and looking into her demographics, psychographics, and media use, and understanding where she's likely to look for services based upon her characteristics. So moving forward, excuse me, I'm going to have a drink of water a minute. Leafleting. How many times have I heard people say that this is dead? I totally disagree. I totally disagree with anybody that says putting stuff through people's letterboxes is a complete waste of time. I would agree that probably 97% of what you put through people's letterboxes is a waste of time, but it's still going to give you some traction. It's still going to allow you to spread your word, spread your message. And if you have quiet or empty clinics, conversely, if you have family members, I know as a child in my own family businesses, I used to go leafleting, or using it as a way of exercise. Why go on a walk? Why not go on a walk with leaflets in your back pocket? But rather than choose every property, try and identify the types of properties that you think that your target patient would live in. If somebody is of this characteristic who likes to look after themselves, enjoys gardening, and generally likes to look smart and tidy, they're not going to live in a scruffy house. They're more likely to live in a house that looks like this. So you can bypass those houses that you don't think that it doesn't fit your demographics. But I firmly believe that we shouldn't bypass leafleting. Leafleting is something that you can do in your own time. You can do it at weekends. You can have family members do it for you. Don't think that it's a dead form of media. It's a free type of media, albeit you've got to pay for the printing. Printing is cheap these days, but it's a very, very good way of getting your message. Yes, 97% of it will end up in the bin, but 3% of it will end up on the coffee table. So it's still very, very important way of advertising. And again, a very, very cheap, not free, but a cheap way of advertising to your patients. So that's my third tip. Tip number 4. So tip number 4 is slightly contentious, but I think by the time I've explained it to you, you'll see the value in it. Nobody likes to give away anything free. So I'm now going to suggest to you that you give away free foot care treatments, but not to everybody, okay? The free foot care treatments have to be targeted, and the targeting is to the people who also provide services to your target market. So I've identified 2 people looking at the demographics of the lady. So we're going to go back to the demographics of the lady. This is somebody who likes to keep fit and also somebody who likes to look after herself. So for somebody that likes to keep fit and look after themselves, they're likely to use local service providers, that being the hairdressers and the the Keep Fit instructors. You can bet your bottom dollar if your patient is going to these people, then so are many, many others of the patients that you want to try and encourage to come into your clinic. So why not, if you've got a spare 30 minutes, 40 minutes in your diary, if you're looking to attract people, but you're looking to attract the right type of people, why not invite the local hairdresser or the local gym instructor, the people that you can identify? You can even find out who they are by asking the people who already come to you who they get their haircut with, who is their gym instructor. Invite them into your clinic, invite them into your practice, or if you're a domiciliary provider, why not go to their salon, or why not go to their gym? Go to them and offer them a free foot care service. Show them what you can do, talk to them, explain that you see the same types of people, and build up that trust with them. Because I can bet you that the next day that hairdresser goes back into work, she's going to be talking about you. The next time that gym instructor has a class, she's going to be talking about you. Because how many times do people offer you something free without there being any ties? You're not asking something from them. You're not asking for referrals. You're just offering it just to say, hey, we look after the same type of people. You look after their hair, you look after their health, we look after their feet. Come and see what we do. Don't ask anything from these people, forge a relationship, because I think you'll find that the trust that you'll build up and the word of mouth advertising that you'll get from both of these service providers is worth its weight in gold. Offer your services to them. You know, what's it costing you? It's costing you nothing. It's costing you time. It's all it's costing you. In the same way as walking around in your locality is costing you time, all it's costing you is time. I'm not asking you to put your hand in your pocket. I'm just asking you to spare a bit of time for these people. And that will just pay dividends time and time again. So moving on. I hope you're all well. I'm just going to look at some comments while I take a breather a minute. I hope everything is going well. So thanks, Kieran, for handling waste of... Okay, so it's interesting to see some of the comments. I will read them back at the end of this webinar. But thank you, Kieran, for keeping up to date with all of that. So we're going to move on to referral marketing. Now, any of you that come from the We Treat Feet Facebook group will understand that the We Treat Feet includes everybody that treats feet. Okay, I set it up because I wanted to include everybody that treats feet. And that's a huge spectrum of people that treat feet. Okay, so we think of podiatry, we think of foot health practitioners, we think of physios, chiropractors, osteopaths, reflexologists, orthotists, podiatry surgeons. You know, the list isn't endless, obviously, but there's a lot of people out there that treat feet. So GPs, I want to bring in GPs because people go to the GPs regularly with foot problems. Why are you working in isolation? Why aren't you referring to one another? I've been lucky in my profession that I've managed to build up a multidisciplinary clinic whereby we brought on different health professionals purely on the basis of being able to refer back and forth to one another. You need to go and speak to these people. You might find it scary if you don't have much of an MSK background to go and speak to a physio or a chiropractor, but they'll welcome that, because if you find that you can pass over your MSK to another podiatrist, a physio or a chiropractor, whoever it might fit in with the best, and that your skill is routine, and what you've got to think of is at the moment we're talking about routine treatments for the routine lady. If a routine lady who goes in there who likes to keep fit has a problem with the foot and ankle and goes to a physio, because many do bypass foot health practitioners and podiatrists, they do go to the GP and the physio, and they feel that they need maybe their help and your help. You need to be speaking to these people. You need to have a referral pathway from them. You're going to refer to them in areas that you'll not be able to help with. They're going to refer to you. Let them know what your skill base is, what you do, and in turn, let them know what your skill base is. Exchange cards, exchange leaflets, put stuff from their practice in yours and vice versa. Referral marketing is a huge area that I think is often ignored by many, many practitioners. They don't see, or they're scared of passing on their patients to another practitioner because they may not get these patients back, or you need to be able to set the criteria of what you're good at, understand what you're good at, and the areas that you're not good at, refer, whether it be to podiatry, physio, chiropractic, GP, whatever it might be, but set up a referral pathway, because there's no point in just sending somebody to a GP or a physio down the road if you haven't got a referral pathway, because how are you going to get it back? You're never going to get it back unless you put up that referral pathway. Knock on the door, speak to them. Everybody, nobody is going to turn you away to say it would be good for us to be able to work together. And if they do, they're an arse, and just don't use them. So referral marketing within the healthcare sector is huge, absolutely huge. One of the other things that I'll touch on very, very quickly with referral marketing, for those of you who are in the domiciliary sector, why aren't you talking to care agencies? Why aren't you talking to care agencies? It drives me mad. You've got care agencies who have carers going in 1 up to 4 times a day to your target market, but you don't speak to them. Why? I've no idea why you don't speak to them. These are the people who are treating, looking after, and caring your patients on a day-to-day basis. Pick up the phone, knock on the door, send a box, chocolates, whatever it might be. Start speaking to these people. They'll refer patients to you. So moving forward, a little bit more light-hearted than referral marketing. We're going to go to doing something within the community. So I'm going to go back to my lady here, because you might wonder why I'm on the village fete. So I'm going to go back to my lady. So one of the things that we identified with our lady is that she listens to the local radio. And she listens to the local radio because she likes to take an involvement in what goes on in her locality. So one of the places that she may be is at the local village fete. Now, it doesn't have to be a village fete. It can be anything that's happening in the locality. But a stall at the village fete, I can't imagine is going to cost much money. Apologies, I couldn't find an image of a foot stall in a village fete. So I think I've found a cake stall. But you get my drift, or at least I hope you get my drift. So support your local locality. Keep your ear on. Keep your radio tuned to the same channel that your target market is listening to. If you know that there's a village fete going it that you can support, get involved with it. You don't have to sell something. Put up a trestle table and offer advice. Give out leaflets. Maybe make some. I made some foot soaps with my children during lockdown. Make some foot soaps. Make some, whatever, foot chocolates, whatever it might be. But get involved. Make sure that they know that you're there, because if you're there, you can guarantee that your target patient, your routine lady, that person that you want coming into your clinic is going to be there. And she will have seen you now in a number of different areas. And supporting the local community is an extremely strong place to be, and it's very important that you're part of that. So look at what's going on in your locality. I know at the time of recording this, we're on lockdown, COVID. Let's forget about that, because these webinars will be replayed over and over again, and people could be listening to this 1-2 years time. And hopefully we're not in the same situation that we are. We can all congregate in lovely events like this, but really pay attention to what's going on in your local area. And that very much brings me on to the next area of free marketing, and that's supporting local events. Now, there are hundreds and hundreds of events going on in the UK. unfortunately. And I'm not going to keep harping back to the coronavirus, but let's bypass that. So lots and lots and lots of events, but I want to keep focused on our target routine lady. So if somebody is this photograph has got a couple of friends of mine in it, and they are running for Velindre, which is a local cancer charity here in Wales, and a number of people have been affected by it, and the gentleman that you can see in the picture is a local sort of celebrity weather broadcaster called Derek, a Welshman called Derek. So this is quite a personal photo for me. What's so empowering about something like this is, why not get involved with this community? Why not, instead of putting your hands in your pocket and supporting it, which you can do, why not support it in other ways? Why not offer, maybe some foot care, maybe some after run foot care, maybe some foot care tips and advice, just anything to be able to support this charity within your own remit. Why not even run with the charity? Why not get involved in any which way you can? Charity and promotion is a very, very difficult line. You don't want to be seen to exploit charities for your own benefit, but to be able to support in the right way, and that's the balance, is to be able to support in the right way, whichever way it may be, to be able to get that trust from the people who are involved or the families that are involved, because not everybody that's running that you can see in that photograph is affected by cancer personally, but they are maybe relatives of people that have been affected by cancer. So it's being able to get the right balance between support and people knowing who you are, and people knowing what you do. But certainly if you get that balance right, supporting local events, women's events, I picked on a very, very sensitive area here, but I picked on it for that reason, because these are things that you need to be involved with. These are people that are likely to use your services. You don't want to market to them, but you want to be able to make sure that you're supportive to their needs in whichever way you can. So I'm just going to click onto the right. So thank you, Kieran. I'm just going to touch base with you a second. Have a quick glass of water as I'm speaking at you all. And thank you for keeping the comments going. So something a little bit more light-hearted now, okay? So I brought the tone down, so I want to bring it back up again. This slide, this is me. I took a number of races for Forgotten Feet Dressed as a Foot. So I did this and enjoyed every minute of it. Then something came about. Now, I brought this into marketing, and I have to say that this is something that I didn't really think of until it actually happened. And then I thought, that's great, I'm going to just share that with everybody. My young daughter, who was 7 at the time, asked me to go in and speak about my job in her school, in her primary school. So I wanted to make it as interesting as I possibly could. So I went in and I talked about podiatry and foot health and so forth. But I wanted to give them a little bit of a competition, which is a colouring competition. So I invented Superfoot. So Superfoot is a caricature that is based upon me, as you can see on the one side there. And I wanted them to create a new and colourful outfit for Superfoot. And we would give a prize, a chocolate prize. It's not very good for their health, I know. A chocolate prize for the first top 3 who came up with the best designs. So this is what we did. I went in and I talked about podiatry. I talked to them about running the race. I talked to them about homeless foot care. Really had them engaged, which was lovely, and left them with this picture of Superfoot. But if you notice on the one side of it, it's clearly branded with my clinic. We treat feet, what we do, podiatry, foot health clinic, our telephone number, and our website. And the reason why I did that is because the children would come out after they've handed these things in with these pictures in their hand, because the school didn't want to keep them there. So I knew full well that Superfoot, in all its technicolors, because the children made an absolutely fantastic job of them, came back, and I could see the kids running out of school with their A4 pieces of paper with Superfoot dawned all over it. And I made sure that every child got a prize as well, everybody that entered. But where did this picture go? Where did this Superfoot go? It went into the hands of the parents and the grandparents. Now, if we flip back to our routine lady, one of the things the routine lady loves more than anything is looking after her grandchildren. And she picks up her grandchildren from school on a regular basis. So when the child runs out of school clutching the Superfoot drawing that she's won a lollipop for or whatever, with all my branding over it, where's it going to go? It's going to go into the hands of either the mum and dad or the grandparent. And if the child is particularly pleased with it, where does it end up? It ends up on the fridge. And it may end up on my target market fridge, or it may end up on the parents' fridge. Ultimately, I'm sure it'll end up in the bin. But it's there, and it's there to stay. And it was a bit of fun, and it didn't cost anything. It cost me photocopying 30 pieces of paper and handing it out to the children, and then giving them a couple of days and then coming back out of school. It's a perfect piece of marketing that gets you back to their target market. And I have to say, this particular type of marketing, not only brought me, parents, grandparents, but also, children with verrucas and so forth, and made me the go-to within that school for foot health problems. So there was a lot of spin-off and something like that, but it's fun, and that's it. It's not all about money and, being able to hoodwink your community into it's a bit of fun, and this was a really good bit of fun. So moving on. So I think up until now, I'm just going to say, I think up until now, apart from producing some leaflets, maybe a stall in the village hall, I don't think we've actually got you to spend any money as yet. So up to now, I'd be surprised if you spent more than £100, and you didn't even need to spend that. So we're going to go back. Always going back to our avatar, always going back to the person that you're trying to market to, okay? It's hugely important. Don't go off in tangents. Don't go, oh, I've just done a Superfoot and I've got all these kid patients that are coming in because of Superfoot. No, you are target marketing your routine lady. You have to keep focused on your routine lady. It is hugely, hugely important. Don't diversify, no matter, even if you've got 6 bookings from kids from that school for verrucas, because they've got a verruca epidemic, you have to keep focused. So going back to your routine lady, what does she like to do? She enjoys WI. She enjoys going to the Women's Institute meetings. So there's no perfecter place to you to market yourself than a Women's Institute or Ladies Guild, and talk to them about what you do. Go into there and talk to them about what you do. Now, I've spoken to many Women Institute groups, because if you speak to one, they tend to inform each other, and then you end up getting invited to other, and it just snowballs from there. And they're fun, and they enjoy you going in, and it doesn't have to be, too over the top and too well presented. You're speaking to a captive audience who enjoy you being there. It has to be good, it has to be informative, but it's not something that you need to sort of break a sweat about. But this is such an important area, because if you talk to them, and I always talk to them about general foot care problems, and mainly I try to speak to them when I go to the Women's Institute about how they can help themselves at home before they have to come into a podiatry or a foot health clinic. So I'm not sort of there as a marketing, but I'm there to support them should they not be able to manage their own foot problems. So it's very much an informative giveaway that I give these types of groups. It's very subtle marketing, but everybody leaves with a card. I mean, I tend to give out goodie bags, but you don't need to do that. You don't need to go to that expense. But as long as everybody leaves with a card and they know who you are. This is a very, very strong marketing tool, and there's lots and lots of WI or Ladies Guild or many groups of this particular type of nature in your locality. Go and find them, go and speak to them. They'll be interested to hear what you have to say, because every week they're looking for speakers. So they are looking for you to reach out to them. They're not going to say no to you. So, and where you are speaking to your target market. I mean, if you try to get this, if you try to orchestrate such a target market, you couldn't do it. But it's free and it's on your doorstep. Just reach out to them. And again, another free tip as to how to go and market yourself. So up until now, I've left Facebook to the end, which is quite interesting, because I think Facebook is a place where everybody seems to go these days. I go there a lot. I use Facebook a lot. You see me all over Facebook, and I use it hugely. But here's the thing. Facebook is no good for finding patients. It's absolutely no good. It doesn't work. It really doesn't. The amount of Facebook ads that I see a lot of you put out there, you're wasting your time, because you're putting like crappy adverts, excuse my language, like this on Facebook. You are completely wasting your time. The best thing that you can do with Facebook, now Facebook is a social media platform. And that's, the name says it all. It's social media. People are going on there for social media. They want to see grandchildren, funny kids, dogs jumping through whatever. They're going on there for something that's quite light-hearted. They're not going on there to be sold to. They don't want to be sold to. They're not interested in being sold to. Don't stick your generic advert up there, because they'll scroll straight past it. It's more likely to do you more damage than it is to increase people to you. But they will, they will pick up on tips and so forth. So, for instance, here's an image that I put onto a Facebook post about keep fit feet. We're in lockdown at the moment. There's more and more people keeping fit. If you look at the image of the man and the woman that's on there, they are your target market. They are certainly 65 to 70 years of age. They're obviously people that like to keep fit. They like to keep in trim. These are the people. I'm not trying to sell them anything. I've got some subtle marketing at the bottom, but I am putting something out there, a blog or something that they can read, enjoy. Maybe we're talking about how to keep your feet pain-free, home care tips while you can't get to the podiatrist or foot health practitioner during COVID lockdown, whatever it might be. But keep it light, subtle, and light-hearted. Keep them interested. Put something up there regularly. But whatever you do, don't do that, because that just doesn't work on Facebook. They're not interested in it. They're interested in reading things that interest them. Put photos up. I mean, whatever you do, the people that put photos up of before and after, here's an ingrown toenail, here's what it looks like, 3 weeks after surgery. Please, why are you putting that stuff out there? It just doesn't work. You're just disengaging your customers. Social media is social media for a reason. Okay, if you want to put stuff out like that, go back to the Google posts, because at least they're looking for a podiatrist, a foot health practice, or whatever it might be. They are Googling for that specific thing. They don't want to scroll past a manky pair of fungal feet, I'm afraid. So you want to put all those posts to bed and just keep it informative at best, or keep your name out there, or keep it light-hearted, something funny, something jovial, something that people will engage with. But certainly don't try and advertise on Facebook. Does not work. So, I feel like I've lectured you all, and we're nearly 50 minutes into it. So we're going to finish on the game of battleships that I mentioned in the first part of target marketing. Now, how do you know any of this works? I've been really bold. I've been extremely bold. I've said this all works, and this either costs nothing or it costs next to nothing. Okay, how do I know that? Well, I can tell you the reason why I know it. It's because I've done it. Okay, I've done everything wrong, and then can't say I've done everything right. But the only reason why I know is because I kept a track of what I've done. Okay, I've had an epiphany over the last couple of years, where I've really looked into marketing, my practices, and you've got to keep a track on what we do. We're all guilty, and I'm guilty of just sticking stuff out there, and then just doing that, and then kind of seeing what comes through the door, and then we all completely lose track of, how did you find me, or where did it come from, and then you don't really know what works. So you go back to square one again because you think, oh, what did I do that actually worked? So you have to be able to account for it. So I took a calendar, okay, and I kind of liken this to those people that have played battleships, and I'm sure most of you have. So if you can imagine you're playing battleships, and this is a battlefield, and the person opposite you can't see what you're. So the person opposite you, if you like, is your patient, and you are the commander of your battleship, and this is your battlefield, and you put your boats in different strategic areas of your battlefield. Now there's a key. You can see the key at the bottom. So what I've done is I've taken a calendar month, and I've looked at strategic marketing throughout that calendar month. And what I'm looking for is hits and misses. Okay, so I've coded them. So if you look at the bottom, we're looking at things like patient referrals. So all of the things I've talked about: patient referrals, Google posts, leaflet drops, community competitions like the Superfoot, service providers like our gym and hairdressers, referral marketing, local marketing like the coffee shops, community event like the ladies run, women's eye lecture, Facebook posts, women's event, community event like the Fate, and the women's event like the ladies run. So I've taken all these areas and I've strategically put them into my calendar as to where I are going to place my marketing in that month. Now, what you need to focus on is that you're not looking for all patients, you're looking for this patient, okay? This is the patient you want to come through in your door. This is what you've been target marketing. Now, the thing is, the hard part is that you need to do it for all your patients, but we'll move on to that at a different date. But we're going to just target this patient, because once you can target one patient, targeting all your patients becomes very, very easy, and you can build up a strategy for all of them. So this is just a strategy to know that you haven't been completely wasting your time. So how do you know what works? So what I'm going to say is that I put up here patient referrals, okay? So patient referrals, just to recap, is the patients coming through and you're asking for Google reviews, or you're passing them over leaflets from local other providers, and you're basically engaging. What you're looking for is the same type of person coming into your clinic. You know that people like the same type of people, so this is kind of your local patient referrals, okay? So I put it up here because patient referrals should be done every day. When a patient comes into your clinic and they are the same characteristic of your target patient, these are the people that you should be handing out the vouchers to, asking for the referrals, etc. Not all your patients. If they don't fit that criteria, don't do it, okay? The patient referrals should go through every calendar month. Sorry, every day of the calendar month. Then we're looking at things like dropping in a Google post, which I mentioned up here. So you're looking at something very, very targeted. So you're looking towards something like, keeping gardeners' feet healthy. That's your Google post. Then you're looking, sorry, wrong slide. then you're looking at leaflet drops. So I put leaflet drops on the weekends because you might find that that's the time you want to go and spread your legs and get a bit of fresh air. Why not do a leaflet drop? Rather than just walk, why not go and do a leaflet drop? Do a leaflet drop with your family. Then we're looking at things like community competition. So I talked about Superfoot. That is a community competition. So this is one of the things that you need to be looking at. And then you're looking to service providers. So these are, getting in your hairdressers and your gym instructors and getting them in for a free foot care treatment and really getting them to know you and you to know them, and for them to pass over referrals to you and vice versa. Local marketing. So this is where you go back to your coffee shops and your florists and your shoe shops and your artisan bakeries and everybody in the area, and forging links and dropping off leaflets there and then getting to refer people to you. The WI is the WI meetings, which we've also talked about. And then we're going to look at things like Facebook posts, putting out a Facebook post, more local marketing, more professional referrals, and so forth. Weekend events, you can see here on the CE, where we've got a community event like putting a stall into a village, and also the women's event as well. So you're gonna have a full diary, and of course, this is a diary that this is a month that is put there for me to be able to explain. I mean, you'd be pretty hard, especially at the moment, pretty hard to find, a running event followed by a community fair, followed by all, a women's institute talk, all in the same spot. But you get the idea of being able to target market it. Now, here is the clincher. Whenever you get an inquiry into your patient, whether you answer the phone yourself, whether it comes through via an email, or whichever way it does, or whether you have a receptionist, you need to say, "How did you hear of us?" And so many people don't. They don't ask, "How did you hear of us? Why did you book? Why did you pick up the phone? Where did you get the information from?" You need to understand where your patients are coming from, especially their new patients. Maybe they're patients that haven't been for a while. Wherever, if they're fitting that characteristic, you want to know where they heard of you. It drives me mad. It happens in my own clinics. When I say to my reception staff, "Where did they hear of us?" I forgot to ask them. Why? Why did you forget to ask them? You need to ask them, where they heard of us, because the most important thing about marketing, because let's face it, all of that is a lot of work. It's a lot of work to do all that, okay? Let's face it, what you really need to know is where you got your patients from. You need to be able to understand where you got your patients from. Because if you know where you got your patients from, this is the military pinpoint. This is what I mean about battleships, about hit and miss with battleships. Okay? You're going to get your misses. Of course you are. You're going to do something. It might have taken you time. You may have spent a bit of money on it and it did nothing. So don't do it again. But you have to know not to do it again. And the only way you know how not to do it again is to be able to create a strategic pattern. And this is why I use the analogy of battleships, hit and miss. So if somebody comes to you because their child brought home a picture of We Treat Feet, put a strike by it. If somebody came to you because they saw you on Google because you're a Google post, put a strike by it. If they got a leaflet, if they saw you at the weekend, you supporting the two members of the running team who completed their run, came back to you because they had poor feet, put a strike next to it. You need to know where to target market, because if you need to know where to target market, you know where you're going to go next. So, okay, this planner that I put up here, I've made up. But one of the things that I haven't made up on there is, if you look at this planner, from my own personal experience, one of the biggest things that grew my clinic for this type of patient was my WI talks. And the WI talks, if you're looking for conversion rate was phenomenal, because I would go to a WI talk. I'd be lucky if there was a dozen, maybe 13 people there. 1 or 2 would fall asleep because they'd be bored of hearing my voice. So I'd really be talking to maybe 9 or 10 of them. But I would get 3 or 4 bookings off the back of that. That conversion was incredible, absolutely incredible. So, if you can think about, I put something out on my Facebook, I might have 200 people that like my Facebook, but then I went to speak to a group of ladies, and I might have engaged with 10 of them, and 3 or 4 of them booked. The turnover is incredible, so you know where to go. So the next time they ask you to do a WI talk, or you even offer your services, you know where to go. You know what to leave behind, and you know where to go. So understanding the type of patient that you're marketing to is number 1. Number 2 is being able to identify. You have to become that patient. You have to get into the skin of that patient and think, right, what's going to influence me? What do I like? What do I dislike? What do I do? What do I don't do? Where am I going to be? Where are they going to see you? Number 3 is being able to actively market to them and putting time and effort into actively marketing to this area. Very, very, very structured marketing. You will be pulled off in tangents because you see influencers. You may do the child's drawing thing, and you get mums coming into you, and you go off on that tangent. Stick to it. Stick to your plan. Maybe target mums next month. Okay, just stick to your plan. And number 4, and the really, really important one, is to record where you're getting your referrals from. And then once you've got that, once you understand that, then you know how to replicate it, and then you just replicate it time and time again. So Kieran's just contacted me to say that we're on our hour, and I would like to thank all of you that have stayed with me for the hour. I know it's been pretty intense. I'd like to hope that this has made some sense. It certainly made a lot of sense to me. I've spent quite a while on target marketing, and it's certainly in helping me understand my business. One of the things I should have said at the start is that we are a multidisciplinary team, so I have to target market to different professions and different professionals and different types of people. And it's really, really really difficult when you have lots and lots of different professions to target market to, and this has made a big difference to me. So thank you all. Thank you for your time. Kieran is presenting next week, so you won't have me next week, although I'll be answering questions. If you have any questions, please put them on the We Treat Feet Facebook group. Anything that I've referred to on here, I'll send you out on an email link. And I hope that this brings in the type of patients that you want to treat and you enjoy treating. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, and thank you, Kieran, for managing all the back end for me, and take care and keep safe and well. Good night all.